Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdown and analysis. Today, we're talking Calgary Stampeders. I shot these on Monday, and it's now Thursday, so I'm reshooting this because I want to talk a little bit. I heard yesterday Auden Tate and Malik Henry both get injured. And, I talk about what happened in the previous year, and that's really a key issue for the Stampeders team last year was how many injuries they had. And it just kind of goes to show, like, sometimes these things are out of your control. Now, I even talk about Dave and his staff's got to get together, figure out what they can do more walkthroughs or stuff. But those are some things you can't control. Like, you can't do walkthroughs in training camp where you're trying to figure out your roster. So it's unfortunate. The Calgary Stampeders, though, in my experience, the last 10 years have been a team that has epitomized next man up. So if there's long-term injuries to these guys, hopefully they can find the next group that step up and become the next man up. So Calgary Stampeders season breakdown. First of all, please subscribe to the channel. That's going to give you notifications of anytime we're posting CFL content. So please make sure you subscribe when you get the chance. And we got Calgary Stampeder talk today. So any Stampeder fans, please leave me a comment on what you think the Stampeders need to do this year and what you're expecting from them on their way back to the Grey Cup. All right, what happened last year? Break the season up into thirds, 2-4 in the first, 2-4 in the second, 2-4 in the third. So pretty consistent, but not great. 6-12. They go on to play the BC Lions, losing the playoffs. So what do I take from last season, or what I remember, and what do I think about it? Two things is I think injuries. A lot of injuries to key players. Kadeem Carey lost a lot of time. Malik Henry lost for most of the season. Jalen Philpott, young player, lost for the season. Clark Barnes got injured. A lot of injuries at the receiving corps. And I think that the back end secondary was a rotation every week. Here's some stats I found. 12 different defensive backs started last season in games, and the previous season, 15 different defensive backs. So injuries happened a lot in a team that lost a lot of close games. And the other thing is I just think people are expecting more from Jake Maier, want more productivity from him as the starting quarterback. Those are kind of my two things on last year. From a coaching perspective, for Dave Dickinson, I think one of the biggest things, and I'm sure he's already done this, is sitting down with his athletic training staff and talking about, hey, we've had a lot of injuries the past two seasons. What are we doing? How can we analyze where our mistakes? Was it just in games? Was it from practice? And coming up with a format so they can make sure the players that they like that are in the building, that they're playing on game day. Whether it's, hey, let's do more walkthroughs. Hey, let's hit less. Whatever that takes. Like, what do we got to do to make sure we don't get hamstring injuries? They really need a great evaluation to make sure that their healthy players can play. Whether it's walkthroughs, whatever. Another coaching point, Bo Baldwin comes on board as the quarterback coach. I know that name because he was Matt Nichols' head coach at Eastern Washington. Highly thought of quarterback coach and developer of quarterbacks. Who has he coached? Bo Levi Mitchell, Vernon Adams, Mike Riley, Matt Nichols. So he's really, his system caters very much to Canadian Football League quarterbacks. So he's really done a good job recruiting kids up to this league because the systems he's run has been outstanding. Hopefully he can bring some of his tutelage and knowledge to Jake Maier. I think that's going to help Jake Maier a lot. So stats, take a look at some of the stats. A couple of things that jump out. 8th in net offense. So the offense did struggle to move the ball at times last year, and you're going to do this when you're 9th in completion percentage. The worst completion percentage in the CFL, 63%. The league average is around 68, 69, so they didn't complete a lot of passes. And when you don't and you're sitting second down, they could not stay on the field. 9th in second down conversion, worst in the CFL. And 2nd and 7+, which you're going to be in a lot when you don't complete passes, worst in the CFL. So 9th in both those categories. One area they were good on offense, they didn't give the ball away a lot. Only second best in the CFL in giveaways. Defensively, middle of the road in a lot of things. One thing I liked that they didn't give up a lot of big passes, but an area improvement for them is takeaways. 6th in the CFL in takeaways, 5th in interceptions, and we'll talk about a roster spot that will help. Now, this team finished third in the CFL in turnover margin at +9. You would really like to have more than 6 wins when you're the third best turnover margin team in the CFL. It shows they had a lot of close games. They got to flip that script and win some of those close games. So roster-wise, talked about getting more takeaways. Demario Houston, go get the best interceptor in the Canadian Football League, slap him at boundary corner, and see what he can do. So that's one area improvement I think that's going to help for the defense. And again, I think they re-signed a lot of their players, and let's make sure they stay healthy and they can improve. Schedule-wise, so for Calgary, you want to go from the bottom all the way back up to the top where they used to be. Well, you got to beat the better teams, and 4 out of their first 6 games are versus Winnipeg and BC, so they can start chopping some of the teams that have been first or second the last couple of years right off the bat. So 4 of the first 6 games are against Winnipeg or BC. Great challenge for them. Looking forward to what the Calgary Stampeders do this season.